Yeah, you did. You really did that quick. But all right, looks like we're hopping right on into the match between Scoze and Slaughterhouse. Of course, Scoze Gaming, Sendu, Brian, Karisu, and Zay. And then we have Slaughterhouse, King, Taylor, Soldier, and Power. Looks like we see and I'm particularly interested in this. Apparently, Soldier is just a foil player. This time opting for the foil flamethrower roller here. Pace, what do you think about that pick?
Honestly, we've been seeing, this is definitely more so than any other time, the rise of the Flingza. We've been seeing so much of this, especially with the new patch that has come out recently. Of course, you know, it's just minor, like a little bit of a tweak to the Flingza that has made it ever so important, especially in the meta right now. So we've been seeing a lot of that. Lily, what else can you actually tell us with regards to what we see here on the for both teams?
Well, I mean, we're seeing a lot of that K-shot coming back in. That's still very popular. It looks like the most recent patch really did nothing to it, and it's been continuing its dominance. We are still seeing as well, though, the remix coming out from Scoze Gaming as opposed to a ballpoint, which is increasingly popular.
Power just going to go ahead, pop off, get a triple. That'll allow a little bit more of an opportunity here for Slaughterhouse to start pushing forward. We'll see if they're actually able to clear a checkpoint here. I imagine they will, because we start to see these specials get built up as well. Bubble's going to come in handy here to help defend this tower, get it past this first checkpoint, and keep this moving forward here. So definitely going to be interesting to watch, and you see no one from this blue team of Scoze Gaming is able to touch that tower. That's the first checkpoint going to Slaughterhouse.
Right now, Slaughterhouse is actually trying to make sure that whatever they can do in order to keep pushing that tower and just secure more points for them, making it ever so difficult for Scoze Gaming to actually be able to fight back. But right now, it seems like there's a 2-down situation for Scoze Gaming. Slaughterhouse just right now on a roll, just everyone just gathering on top of the tower.
And they've cleared that second checkpoint, which is honestly the win condition for this map. If you clear that second checkpoint, it's pretty much a walk to the finish.
And walking to the finish is almost what they're thinking about doing here. It's a 2-down situation, so Taylor is going to play a little bit more conservatively here so far. Just want to make sure that they're not giving up their position entirely. Again, it's more important here to stay alive on the whole, right, than to go down and try to just push it just a couple more points. Better off staying alive and trying to get the work done. And again, that's exactly what allows this delayed wipe situation to come in. A lot of this guys at Scoze Gaming, and they're going to kind of continue this lockout-esque situation, not letting Scoze Gaming even so much touch the tower.
Man, something has to be really said about just how Slaughterhouse is just constantly just playing offensively, just occupying as much territory as they can, keeping that map control, and then just being able to actually push into the enemy base, not even giving a chance for Scoze Gaming to actually get on the on the tower. Speaking of power right now, just rallying around the center right here, trying to see what he can do for the rest of the team. And it seems like right now with a 2-down situation, Scoze Gaming is going to be able to actually push Slaughterhouse a little bit backwards. So right here, it's going to be up to Scoze Gaming to see what they can do to actually take middle and then push a little bit more towards the tower.
And we just had another 2 down on the side of Scoze Gaming, so Slaughterhouse is definitely doing a really good job not giving up too much ground even when they go 2 down.
And that's exactly what they're going to try to keep doing here. Tower right now is starting to be contested by Scoze. They're going to start pushing forward. Watching them out of blue ink, they have a nice snipe out of nowhere coming in here from Power. That's going to pretty much shut down that push, exactly trying to get that heat control. Scoze is no longer able to do that with disadvantage in squids on the map, and this will be another push coming in for Slaughterhouse.
Oh, you can tell the Slaughterhouse right... Oh, sorry, go
ahead.
Go on.
No, go ahead.
You can actually tell the Slaughterhouse right now, they're playing very, very... I'm not going to say conservative. They know that they actually have a very huge advantage. At 31 points right here, it seems like right now they're just going to be pressing more so to make their win objective, just to make sure that they have complete control around the center point of the map right here. Of course, Brian probably trying to see what he can do for the rest of this team. Right now, they do have a 1+ situation going for them, and it's just going to be a matter of just trying to retake this mid. But once again, it seems like Scoze Gaming just has a little bit of trouble trying to actually push back towards the tower.
And this might be a mark of a team that plays consistently together versus players that play consistently together but not necessarily as a team. We're seeing a lot of really good teamwork coming out of Slaughterhouse, but a little bit of a separated play coming from Scoze Gaming.
36 seconds left on the clock, and Scoze Gaming certainly has their work cut out for them here as we keep moving forward. They still haven't been able to get the map control that they want in order to push forward, because every time it just seems like they go down in some of these fights. Karisu looking for this pick on a power, but is going to get caught out, and that's just a wipe like that. We didn't see the rest of the interactions in the map. but that's the wipe. That is probably the game here, assuming the Slaughterhouse can play their cards correctly. I don't see a path to victory right now for Scoze, Lily.
Honestly, no, not really. At this point, they've got less than 5 seconds. They don't have tower. They don't have map control. That's probably going to be game.
Oh, wonderful performance right there by Slaughterhouse. It seems like just throughout the entire portion of the game, it just seems like their main focus was just not just being able to get that main tower advantage that they had, but then just hang around mid, try to create as much pressure as they can, just try to, and it seems like Scoze Gaming didn't really have that much of an answer to that. So going into game 2, they're going to have to be a little bit more wary of that and see what they can do to actually, what kind of strategies that they can devise to actually push against that.
And even,
Absolutely.
looking at those KA lines, it didn't even seem like either one of those two teams outslayed the other.
No, Slaughterhouse did a really
just
good job just maintaining ground and not really giving it up.
Yeah, and a lot of times that's going to be what nets you the game victory. I mean, of course, Turf War is the introductory mode, and for good reason. It's all about that map control, all about that turf control, and seeing how much you can have on your own side before continuing to go forward. But that was only game 1 on tower control. Maybe heading into Clan Blitz here, Paste. We'll see if Scoze can start to pick things up. What do you think they need to do in order to maybe secure a victory here?
Well, exactly what you just said recently. It's good that there's a lot of emphasis actually on the turf control portion, and especially Clan Blitz is able to benefit off that. Is like really with regards to just being able to lay down that map control. If Scoze Gaming can actually take control as much as they can, therefore they're going to be able to actually up their clan count and hopefully be able to push into the enemy base. But it really depends on also if they can get past that really tight defense that Slaughterhouse has. So I guess this is going to be hopefully whether or not they actually have an answer for that. What do you think, Lily?
Before we go into this first match, I actually want to read off a few donations right quick before we start. Miss Salty coming in with $30. Thank you so much. Attila039 with $10.86. RJ Soares with $1 saying keep up the good work. And Shipwreck5 with another $5. Love this game, love this community. Now moving into Clan Blitz, we're seeing the Sendo special and a nice tent coming out on the side of Slaughterhouse. And an X-Splash coming out on the other side. Which is a strange thing considering the recent nerfs, right, Kbot?
Yeah, the Sendu special against Sendu. And to be fair, the Tetrabrilla wasn't nerfed a ton. It was only nerfed a little bit, where it's a little bit more difficult to use, but it's still going to be an extremely strong weapon as we start to see those pushes come in. The other thing I want to call out here is the Explosion actually coming in for this side of Scoze Gaming. Perhaps they're looking for a little bit more turf control. As we mentioned, the Explosion is going to be able to output a lot of that moving forward. And then, of course, having the baller on that custom Explosion, always something useful to push in, talking about Clan Blitz on the whole. But we already saw a push coming in from Scoze Gaming. They were able to secure that Clan basket, and they're looking to try to do that again here as we see a bunch of bubbles come out under the basket case.
Well, that being said, I mean, it seems like Slaughterhouse has their work cut out for them. Scoze Gaming having a very, very dominant first portion of the game right here, being able to actually secure the points to 62. And right now, it just seems like they're not really letting up. They're able to push past whatever Slaughterhouse has been able to throw at them lately. And maybe that Explosion pick was definitely what they had in mind in order to see what they can actually do to get past that game 1. So if they keep doing this, it seems that now Slaughterhouse is going to be in the position where they have to actually figure out what kind of answer they can have to this.
Absolutely. We have 2 down on the side of Scoze Gaming and also 2 down on the side of Slaughterhouse. So Scoze is going to extend this a little bit, but it looks like that may be a dead push and they're going to have to pull back to mid. This is Slaughterhouse's chance to pull back in control and pull back the clan control as well.
And we'll see if they can do that. They're looking for a push here. Team setup, he is good to solo this with the bubbles, with the tech canopy. This is why you pick Tenebrella. One power plan is going to go in from Team Power, is going to try to approach from the side, and now finally the team support from Slaughterhouse comes in. This is going to be a really large push. That will indeed be the lead for Slaughterhouse. They're looking for a couple more. They're sticking around for the time being to start to see these members of Scoze flank around from behind. They're able to tail it like they full axe at the time being. A nice push down to 33.
Oh, it seems like Slaughterhouse was actually looking for this all along. I mean, it took them until 2 minutes and 40-ish seconds left in the game until they actually were able to find their answer. But just like that, they were able to push past Scoze Gaming's 43-point mark, pushing it to 33. That's going to be a very dominating lead. And right now, Scoze Gaming is going to have to double down and see what they can actually do to actually make that push back to try and get the lead.
Honestly, the first order of business is trying to get map control back. It looks like a lot of them were pushing out without any paint control or clam control, which allowed Slaughterhouse to come back in and open the basket back up. Doing that just stalls out Slaughterhouse's push, and we need a little bit more paint before we can move that far forward.
And you know, to be fair, in some of these footages from Scoze, it's taken a little bit of time for them to build up paint control, build up to a point in order to push forward. Whereas the side of Slaughterhouse doesn't need that much paint control to start getting something happening. And indeed, here we see able to get one in and now Taylor behind. Actually, Slaughterhouse is in a good position to try what's going. You see a lot of their members are spread around. We've got one trying to pick up a couple more clams, and they're still staying alive for the time being. Here comes the rest of the clams coming in for Slaughterhouse, and it like Taylor's going to be able to close at the bottom, and that is going to Slaughterhouse here. Message for them, Lily.
Yeah, that honestly was a really impressive game. I do think that Scoze's gaming's biggest problem there was the lack of paint control. They didn't take the time to get back map, and because they didn't do that, it just allowed Slaughterhouse to walk right back in. The next game, regardless of what mode it is, they're definitely going to have to focus a little bit more on paint control.
Yeah, the paint control issue is still kind of a little bit prevalent. It seems like they actually had signs of life going into that first part of the game too, but still it wasn't really enough. You got to also be able to factor in the fact that Slaughterhouse, they're going to be able to actually make quick adjustments mid-game and see what is it that they were kind of a bit lacking in. And, you know, by and large, they did. They kind of just turned it around, you know, at the flip of the switch. They didn't really, it didn't really seem like they were actually having that much of a dominance early part of the game, but like, I mean, just give them a moment to actually implement the strategy, and you know, just like that, they're going to be able to turn the game on its head.
Absolutely. And now that we're in between games again, we do not have any more donations to read, but I do want to remind everyone with ! Donation in chat, or donate, I'm not sure which at this moment, but if you type that out in chat, you can get the link to donate some to a wonderful cause. Splat for a Cause is donating money tonight to direct relief, which is going to go towards coronavirus relief and aid. So please feel free to slam that donation button and send some stuff our way. Maybe we'll get the next few donations read out in Kbot's cool robot voice.
Hey, if you really want some, I'll do my best, although I think my Wi-Fi is starting to get best of me here. Looks like we're going to be hopping right on in to Game 3. It's Splat Zones Blackbelly between these two teams. Splat Zones, something that has to do with a lot of map control, something that Slaughterhouse has been excelling in so far. Can they keep it up moving into this game? But Lily, it's new playing your favorite one.
I mean, it's surprising. I love seeing a junior, though I don't think I've really seen Sendo play it a whole lot. I'm looking forward to it, and it'll definitely help with that map control problem they've been having.
We'll see what he can do here on this zone for Slaughterhouse. Now it looks like they're going to start trying to push forward. Teams going to apply some more pressure from the top there. That's why Slaughterhouse is going to do an excellent job of just covering pretty much that entire floor with that blue ink color for the side of Slaughterhouse. And again, right now, it's the picks not coming out. It's the map control going in favor of Slaughterhouse. And even though they're not scoring right now, they're setting themselves up for success overall to make sure this Scoze gaming can't really do much here at all pace.
Also, one thing I just kind of wanted to really point out, I know this is kind of already, we're all like 4 minutes left into the game, but like, Slaughterhouse brought a Swiffer. I actually wanted to extrapolate a little bit on this, because this is something you still don't see, even with the change or the recent additions to the packs. This is definitely something you don't see very often. So, Lily, what can you tell me about this?
I mean, honestly, my best guess is that Chargers typically aren't run on Blackbelly, and a lot of them will often flex to Explosher, but of course Explosher's recent nerf makes it a little bit more difficult, so... That's it. Taylor's out here showing off. He's like, I don't know why you guys are talking about the Squiffer. You guys should be talking about me.
Yeah, right. Why talk about the Swiffer when you can just talk about the frontliner that's putting in a massive amount of work? That's 4 Splat streak. They're looking for the 5th. He is going to go down after a little bit of an overextension. The ink armor comes out, and we'll see if Scoze can start to push back forward. They had a decent bit to go through, but it does look like they were able to secure the 3-time situation on Slaughterhouse. The zones will go back their direction, and now they've got to try to answer here and try to make sure that Slaughterhouse can't break back in.
Oh, it seems like that map control situation there that you were talking about with regards to bringing the junior in is definitely paying dividends for them right now. Scoze Gaming actually holding down mid very well right now. It seems like they're in prime position trying to make sure that they can get any threats coming in from Slaughterhouse to go towards mid. And just like that, they managed to get the lead. Right now, Slaughterhouse has to find an answer to this, but knowing how they were able to perform the last 2 games, it seems like they'll be able to make quick adjustments in no time.
And I wonder how much of that is due to the comp change. Like, we do have major changes on both sides, and the additional paint on the side of Scoze, as well as the interesting choices on the side of Slaughterhouse, may have evened the playing field a little bit more.
Slaughterhouse trying to see if what they can get away with here, and it looks like they're able to get away with a lot in that team fight. Perhaps a little bit sloppy, but they come away unharmed, and it's the wipe onto that side of Scoze. They're going to look for the knockout here. They're now in a behind situation. We'll see if they can hold onto this, but Taylor's starting to push up a little bit far in this half fight, making sure no one comes around from this flanking position. Does go down to Brian. Brian says, no, you don't. You're not going anywhere. Shuts that down, and now a couple specials getting popped here on its own page.
All right, here comes the bomb rush right here. Brian trying to see what he can do for the rest of the team. Gets a beautiful snipe on Keen right there, trying to reposition and also dodge the enemy snipe coming in from the Swiffer. But right now, Brian just trying to climb up right here, trying to get back to his favorite position right here, and trying to see what he can get, as well as a beautiful snipe on Soldier as well. So right now, it seems like Slaughterhouse is just going to have to redouble their efforts and try to regroup before they actually go back to mid.
Absolutely, and Scoze Gaming is just burning through that penalty. If they can hold on to zone for a little bit longer, they'll be completely out of it, and Slaughterhouse will have a little bit more work. But that said, commentary curse means Slaughterhouse did take it back.
Slaughterhouse take it back, and they're looking to try to extend their lead. Team is trying to put in some work here, but a Tri-Slusher duel is going to end in a trade. Powers jumping in to try to cap this zone, gets a pick on a Brian. That's going to be a long-range presence down for Scoze, but goes down in the process the other direction. Looks like for the time being, Slaughterhouse can't hold on to both the zones. That Soldier going down on it, that flings it as well. And we're actually trading back and forth in a very scrappy fight here in mid. Goes back and forth. It continues as now power goes down to the Tri-Slusher. The Inkjet trying to put in a little bit more work from Karisu, zoning away some of these members of Slaughterhouse, making sure they can't keep track of these zones, keep control of these zones, and that eventually is going to work in the favor of Scoze here. Well played by them overall to just make sure that that lead doesn't get doesn't lose control or doesn't go out of their favor.
We're also seeing some really good forward momentum from Scoze Gaming. Like, the way you want to play this map is you want to get control, then you want to push up into their maze and hold those different directions up. And we're just seeing some amazing play coming out of them. Unlike the past couple of games where that felt a little bit lacking, it feels like they're hitting their groove now.
Well, I like the word that you actually used, Kbot, is scrappy. It's like, that is pretty much a good summary of this fight, because it seemed like for a good portion there, it was like, what, a 10-point lead coming in from Scoze Gaming, but like that lasted throughout like an entire minute, and it's just both Slaughterhouse and Scoze Gaming just having this rough and tumble fight just happening like around the midsection right there. But just like that, Scoze Gaming actually pulls out a very impressive victory after a very long session of combat for what seemed like ages right there. But just like that, beautiful play by both teams, but right there, it seems like Scoze Gaming was able to actually get the answer that they need and still keep themselves alive in this set.
18 splats and assists from Zay on that L3. I wonder how much that was actually due to the Inkjet, because it seemed like, especially there towards the end, the Inkjet was doing a lot of work in helping that zone process, especially when perhaps Brian wasn't around to try to be that other zoning presence, able to take that Inkjet, take to the skies, and pick off your opponents from afar. But we'll see exactly what that response is moving forward. Will we see Scoze try to go for the reverse sweep now as we head to something that historically has perhaps been Slaughterhouse's best performing mode? Lily, how do you think they're going to fare on Starfish main stage?
I mean, it's going to be rough. They're definitely going to have to keep up that paint control. If they played at all like they did last game, then we're looking forward to a really good 5-game set, I think.
I would absolutely love to see the bracket reset, or the potential for bracket reset. I want to see a game 5. I know these two teams have it in them. And I mean, certainly there have been a lot of times where, you know, this has been a little bit more back and forth. We saw for that period of time in Black Belly where we were just sitting on that 10-point lead, didn't know who was going to come out on top in a lot of those fights. In some cases, it all just boils down to that map control. Again, that Scoze didn't have in those first 2 games. They were able to pick it up a little bit more on Black Belly, and we'll see how much that's going to play into consideration here as we move into Rainmaker moving forward.
Now, with regards to the map control situation, it seems like Scoze Gaming has a little bit of a handle that that may be the answer that they need. But once again, this is Rainmaker, so it's going to be a completely different beast to actually deal with. Whether or not we actually see Sendo playing the junior again, well, I mean, that'll obviously put a smile on Lily's face. But I mean, aside from that, I'm not sure if that will actually be the answer. So, Lily, since you're the junior master here, you might as well tell us how would something like that factor in going into this game for Rainmaker.
Well, I mean, it depends on whether or not Sendo is running a double bomb comp. Because if you're running the double bomb comp, you pretty much just need one other teammate to help you out pop Rainmaker, and you're done. And then on top of that, just the exorbitant amount of paint control you can put out with a junior it's a no-brainer. If you play junior at all and you don't play it on Rainmaker, you're playing junior wrong. Just call out post,
Okay,
all of the
to be
community.
fair- To be
You heard it
fair,
here.
Lily would say.
If you play junior at all and you're not playing junior all the time, call out post for the community. You're all doing it wrong.
Apparent and with I suppose voting from start out of meta in all cases here. And the ends up from the side.
I think we may be having some technical difficulties. I don't know if we're hearing that on stream or just on our end as well, but Kbot, we're having a little bit of problems hearing you. But in the meantime, we're already 3 down on the side of Slaughterhouse.
And just like that, I mean, it hasn't even been like the first 30 seconds of the game, and right now Slaughterhouse, Scoze Gaming already brought it up to an impressive 30 lead here, but of course, you know, this is Starfish main stage, so the game can go either way. Sorry, I got my words mixed up there for a second, but anyways, just like this, all this craziness happening, bubbles coming up from both sides right here, Sendu going down, of course, that's going to be the loss of the Rainmaker going in for Scoze Gaming. Right now, Slaughterhouse, it's going to be their prime position to be able to actually make sure that they can not only repel the opposing team, but try to see what they can do to actually get their feet back on the ground and perhaps push the Rainmaker into the enemy territory.
So I had to do a real quick reboot. I missed part of that game, but all of a sudden that was a push down to 10 on the side of Scoze Gaming, and Slaughterhouse is now on the back foot. They have to try to gain some of the map control moving forward, and it looks like they're starting to be in a good situation to try to do that. They're starting to push forward. You see how much purple ink is starting to start to get to their opponent's side of this field, although one goes down like either side here. I mean, really, which way is this going to go? It looks like Power's just going to be forced to sit here in mid. Once flanks around, okay, never mind. That's going to be the pick coming in, and a well-played defense here from the side of Scoze.
Yeah, honestly, it's looking pretty much like the beginning of the game, the part that you missed. Scoze Gaming just went hard. They went hard. They took them all completely out and pushed the Rainmaker all the way up. And honestly, Slaughterhouse has a lot of way to go if they want to pull this back in, even remotely close to a close game.
It seems like this entire game, Scoze Gaming just has a complete control of this midsection right here. Seems like Slaughterhouse does have to have some sort of answer to be able to fight back against this right now. But it seems like right now, I would say that Scoze Gaming probably has learned a little bit from the past 2 games. So depending on how things goes, honestly, we might actually have that game 5 that we were predicting in the very beginning of this.
When, you know, a lot of cases here, you have to look at the composition. Scoze Gaming has a quad shooter composition. They're going to have a lot of turf output, but they're probably not going to have these picks from far. That explains why they went hard extremely early on, and that explains why they're able to kind of take whatever they want of this map when they're all grouped up together. We'll see if Slaughterhouse can start to capitalize here, though, as they start to look for this push. They're looking to try to get things set up, but again, they don't have the turf control to try to push forward. Rainmaker's going to step forward. Ryan's going to try to put in some more good specials, get popped, and that's not going to go past the 19-point mark. Scoze retains lead for the time being. Can they get this pop? Can they shut this down? They are 2 down for the time being. And it's going to pop a armor, but Taylor just sneak around, and that's going to be the lead going back to the side of Slaughterhouse here in this game 4. They're still looking for the aggression. Sendu is still there. So it's not going to find it stuck at the 1-point mark. Still scrappy, going back and forth here. A lot of purple ink is around this area as Slaughterhouse looks for the knockout. They're looking to seal the deal. They're looking to send the set here, and that will be it as Taylor dunks it. That is the end of game 4, and that is the set to Slaughterhouse.
Honestly, can we take a moment? Like, we never really addressed it, but Brian was definitely playing Sploosh in that game.
Yeah.
Can we, like...
Yeah.
Brian?